Hi, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to teach about the Spring Boot layer architecture. This is very must how the Spring layer architecture flow working. If you know this chapter well, the Spring Boot is very easy for you all to build the application. So you can see here there is four layers. Those are controller, service, repository, and data source. There is a flow layers consist of Spring Boot layer architecture. So you can see here the front end. Front end which manage the all the requests. What the requests coming to the front end, it will be passed into the controller. Front end can't passing the data to the controller directly. There is another part which is a DTO. So all the data front end passing via the DTO format. Front end passing the data to the controller via the DTO format. What's the DTO? We will be explained in the practical session. Don't worry about that. You just keep in your mind when the request is coming, that particular data, the request data will be passing to the controller via the DTO format. Keep in your mind. That is must. Controller receive the data from the front end and passing to the data to the service. Service passing the data to the repository. What is the meaning by repository? It is nothing but managing all the SQL queries. Insert the record, add the record, find the record, all the SQL queries managed by the repository. Repository receive the request from the service and passing to the data source to add the record or delete the record or view the record or whatever if it is. You can use whatever databases. You can use MySQL or MongoDB or PostgreSQL, whatever database you can use it. Now you can see in between repository and data source, there is another thing which is an entity. What does the entity mean? This is the table format of the database. It's a table format of the database. So repository send the data through the entity to data source. Repository send the data through entity format to data source. This is how the Spring layer architecture works. Now I am going to tell you one example. This example which is very helpful you to learn the process of the Spring layer architecture. But imagine you have a registration form. Registration form consists of many fields such as a name, address, phone number, and email address. Once you fill the registration form is a front end. Once you fill the registration form, there is a button which is submit. Click on the submit button. All the data will be passing to the controller via the DTO format. Receive the data from the front end to the controller. Controller passing the data to service. Service passing the data to repository. Repository passing the data to the data source via the entity format to add the data into the database. Now you have a clear idea how the registration form flow works. Passing the data, what is the data we are passing to the DTO format to the controller passing to the service passing to the repository passing the data via the entity format to the data source to add the data. If the data is added successfully, the message will be passed into the front end. Data saved successfully registered. This is how the Spring layer architecture work. I hope you have a clear idea about Spring layer architecture. This is very must when we are doing the industrial project. All the things we will be seeing in the practical session. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next lecture.